Hello, everybody. We are back from Austin, Texas. We went down to Austin, Texas last week and experienced South by Southwest. What is South by Southwest, you may be asking?
That is the most common question I get every time I tell someone, what is it?
They're like, what the hell is this thing?
It's a thing.
So South by Southwest is a big, huge convention that's been going on for, I think, 39 years now, 38 years. Started as a music convention, and then it's expanded over time into what is now music, interactive, film, and TV. So there's different tracks and segments you can go and experience while you're down at South by Southwest. It's very industry focused. So you have people from all around the industry here to talk about video games or advertising, technology, design. Fun fact, Twitter had their reveal at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
So that was one, and I believe Uber did as well, and a couple other companies, and a whole bunch of different people. Had
NFTs had their big reveal.
Oh yeah,
at
that's still
South
going
by.
on.
NFTs had the reveal. It was great, so good. So we went down there. We were press, we were media down there, hanging out for 5 days, checking out all the stuff, doing some brand activations, checking out the different talks and experiences, and it was a lot of fun. So we're gonna dive in, but first off, I want to talk about just the talks as a whole, because the talks is kind of like the big piece of South by Southwest, where you have a massive list of schedule stuff to go through, and they cover a whole bunch of different tracks, as I mentioned earlier, in all kinds of different categories. We obviously spent most of our time on the game industry track, relevant to the game industry, and we saw a series of talks. So what were some standout talks that you guys experienced down here, and just give me a little highlight about what you saw and learned.
I think I enjoyed. There was two talks that stood out to me. The rest, all the talks that we went to, and even Austin said this. Like a lot of the talks felt super dry and stuff like that, which is understandable because a lot of this majority of it is very dry subjects. But the one that I actually enjoyed was about the branding of branding in video games. A lot of people don't see this, especially with Fortnite and stuff, and I preach it a lot, talking about them bringing in skins and stuff like that. It's basically a branding market without even realizing it, and that just clarified a lot of things for me, and then a lot of stuff I didn't know. And I talked to Brett about this, the 7 touch points of branding.
Yeah, that was something that I kind of brought up in that conversation to explain to you what they were kind of talking about, because they were doing, it was the talk was called the Brand Battle Royale.
Yes, and
it was just a overall view of just I'm trying to remember what the lead subject matter was in that piece, but they went a lot in the gaming side of it because of the increased amount of engagement that gaming can provide to brands from an advertising perspective.
Yeah, and
that was kind of their main point. So I was 7 touch points. It's
7 touch
points.
You
need 7. And if you want to remember something, and this is for studying and stuff too, if you want to remember something, you need to recite it 7 times in your head, and that is how it'll start clicking.
Yeah,
and saving in your memory. So you can use that same methodology for advertising. So having a video, social post, a game experience, or whatever kind of medium it is, if you get at least 7 of those touch points in front of somebody, you're gonna have a higher
chance of them
rate.
of them going to them. And just listening to that, I had a shit ton of notes, but last night I had a very rough night because I had sleep
paralysis.
Yes, and it was very bad. So I'm running off of fucking weird ass steam and alcohol and kolaches, but the best guy. Just some BTS for you right now. But yeah, I really enjoyed that panel a lot. And then my next panel that I really enjoyed was with the Valhalla composer and stuff, going over the music for video games and stuff like that. How they came up with the song for the overall theme for Valhalla Ragnarok, the soundtrack and stuff like that. I found that interesting, and it took a person, I can't remember her name because I left my fucking notes. But she wasn't used to the style of music, and she actually did her research, dove into it, and went out of her own space, her own genre, to figure out and make sure the theme sits with the music and how they did that process. I thought that was that was very intriguing and very fun. And then meeting. Well, I was what?
Stephanie Economou.
Yes. But and then I also was able to meet a TikTok creator, which I hands down love watching his stuff. Is Straw Hat Goofy, and he reviews like movies and TV shows and stuff like that. I met him at a happy hour, and I thought he was going to be very unapproachable. But whenever I talked to him, he was just like hands down great guy. Look out for his content. This was his first South by Southwest. He was able to interview Jake Gyllenhaal, the Monkey Man guy, Dave Patel. Dev Patel. He was able to interview him, the whole cast of the Fallout series. It was just phenomenal sitting there actually talking to him, and he was giving me advice on different stuff for my podcast for the Skip Rent By. Not so much on the Inner Gamer, because he's a casual gamer just like you guys are listening now. So I told him, listen to us, because he just beat God of War 2018.
Shout out if you're listening.
Shout out. He just beat God of War 2018. He was planning on jumping to Ragnarok, and that's where we got into the conversation about the Prime series and stuff like that. And he told me about Ted. That was a fucking unique interaction that I didn't think I was going to experience. Yeah. And I was very I don't want to say fangirl, but I was very blown away that he was there, and he was very approachable. And then the Fallout experience. Dear Lord. That can be a whole topic of its own. They did.
That is a topic of its own.
Okay, so I won't jump into that at all. that right there blew me away. And then also seeing Brett ready to fucking rage the first night we got there. That was
rage.
He was ready to go. But the next day we had the Fallout thing early in the morning, and
Jason was the chill one the first day.
I was the chill one the first day. I was very shocked.
I was so ashamed.
Brett.
Yeah.
Brett was so ready to go. He was hyped, and for some reason, I personally felt like this year, it wasn't as immersive as it was the past 2 years that I went. And I don't understand why I didn't feel that way. So, yeah, that's my own preference.
Yeah,
I'm
going
to let
different.
Austin do his thing. But it was a great experience. I'm super happy we were able to go.
Yeah. So. What were your favorite talks, Austin?
There was two, because there was contrasting. Well, so the first talk was next generation entertainment, gaming, and content creation innovators. They had 3 people speak on trying to market to people using games and experiences. And so they had a guy from Roblox on. Listening to him talk about stuff was very corporate marketing. And there's another guy on there too. It's about the same thing. And they had some Fortnite guy on there, which was interesting to see that he's doing really well. He's only 24. And then the next day.
Wait. Which one was that?
This one, they had the Fortnite guy.
No, not one I went to.
That's the one I went to.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I thought you were talking about Cypher.
One we went to.
Yeah, I was talking about Cypher.
Yeah.
He's 27.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
I was confused. I was
he was, yeah. Somewhere in his 20s. I was close. The second one was the anatomy of a virtual music experience of Fortnite. They talked about, they had 2 people from Epic Games, and then they had another one from Warner Brothers Music, I believe, and they were talking about how they create experiences for people just to have,
was really good.
Just literally for fun. It wasn't about money, it was about having fun. What can we do to create a really awesome experience for the people that are here? And I talked to one of the ladies, I believe her name was Melissa, and she was like, yeah, we just, we have really awesome people, higher ups, who are just make cool stuff. Don't worry about how successful it is. Just make cool things and keep going forward.
And also, what I liked about that talk was how they communicated with the artists on what they envision, or what they wanted, a true concert to be. Because you can't bring that into the physical world. That's what they kept saying. But we gave the artists creative rights to just create something bizarre and out there. And that was an interesting talk, because I didn't think they I knew they talked to the artists on getting approval and stuff, but I thought they were the main brain behind it. But no, the artists will give them an idea of what they really want, and they'll work together with them. So
yeah, I thought that was awesome. So those 2 were very interesting. Some parts were kind of boring, because a lot of it there's just a lot of corporate people talking to each other, and to other corporate people trying to learn something, and so some of it's dry. But I think those 2 were interesting to see the dynamics for each.
I forgot. That was a really
awesome.
great conversation, because I do like the fact that they were just trying to create experience. They weren't out for a cash grab, because they had someone ask a question about keeping track of like how much influx they're getting because they're doing this, and they're like, we're not.
Yeah.
We're just trying to create.
They track it, but they don't care. Like these people working on the music side, they don't care. If, I mean, I'm sure they're going to eventually hear about it, and if they hear about it, it's probably like, oh, we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
But they're not like, let's run the numbers.
Yeah, they're not focused on the numbers. They're just wanting to create experience. And how they were talking about Slim Shady, about how his charts went up more because of Fortnite.
Yes,
because a lot of people haven't heard. I was just like, what? And that
the music emotes.
It just boggles my mind.
Yeah.
So talking about how Slim Shady moved up on the charts and stuff, and I was just like, what?
Well, there was one music emote that I heard, and I was like, I really like this, and so I like actually saved the song to my Spotify playlist because I was like, oh yeah, I like the song.
It's
was that her? She's like, this song is really old, and I was like, is it?
is it? You just haven't heard of it.
I just found out now.
Yeah. So
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Brett Ninoski?
Yeah. Yeah. I like the one you talked about. That was a really good one. The brand Battle Royale.
Yeah.
I had a note here that I thought was interesting from that is that they said that a lot of people think of like Roblox, for example, having being like a bunch of 10-year-olds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they were saying that Gen Z is really like where a lot of it is. And Gen Z is 26% of the population and will have several $1 billion worth of spending power like in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So like that's like the generation that they're trying to like capture and work towards and stuff like that.
40% of the people playing Roblox are over the age 17. Mm-hmm. So they, assuming they probably already have a job and spend their money on Roblox. So and have probably grown up with Roblox.
At 17 though,
some people do. I don't think it's as common now, but
I don't think it's common now.
Some people do.
So the other one that I liked, I really enjoyed the Blizzard talk that we went to about building worlds and the group that was the story and franchise development team.
That was cool.
That was really interesting to see kind of their creative process and like we've talked a lot about like layoffs and stuff like that in the gaming industry, and usually that's as a result of they lay off like a team which is building a game, and in this case, this team works across all of the games, and they're kind of acting as like an agency within Blizzard. And Diablo, for example, or let's say Overwatch comes out and they have a new character with a new season that's about to launch. They come to the story and franchise development team and then say, here's the character, here's what the character does. We need a hero trailer, origin story. We need all these different assets to promote this character. And this team creates all that. So they create all the animation, creative video, audio, and they help with like archiving and stuff like that as well, which I thought was really, really interesting to see. And that whole conversation was just pretty fascinating to see the inner workings of Blizzard, who's been under scrutiny in recent years and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like nothing had ever happened.
But there was definitely some passion here, and it made me realize that I would love to see more of the behind the scenes story at that company. Because another thing too, I think that's interesting is they've also been under fire for like sexual misconduct and stuff like that. And these were two females that were representing, Blizzard in this situation. And I told the one girl, I was like, I would love for you guys to build a in-depth behind the scenes like biopic or like documentary about the making of a canceled game. So the survival game just got canceled and it's not coming out. And
we need to like what happened.
Yeah, like rather than letting that stuff just go away and just like disappear, like what happens internally when that stuff happens? Where do those assets go? Where does that team go? How does all this happen? And show us the good, the bad, and the ugly of the internals so you can humanize this group and not just have us sit here and be like, oh, well, these people that got all the money are spending all this stuff and like, they're fucking everything up kind of thing. Like show the inner workings. Cause I've been watching, Grounded, which is a documentary on The Last of Us Part 2 by Naughty Dog. And it's really interesting to see like Neil Druckmann inside of a room presenting to his team his initial idea of the trailer that they were going to reveal at E3 to announce The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
And him walking through like his thought process about how this was going to look and like people reacting to it and disagreements occurring inside the room between all of them. It was just like, these are humans and this is a real work environment. This is what it looks like inside of that work environment. And And I think it'd be really neat to see that. Just like seeing their behind the scenes of the animation that they did of like the storyboarding that was just animated, but like stick figures. And then they had their team go in front of a parking lot and like reenact like a trailer. And then they go and actually like animate the trailer. Like seeing all the behind the scenes process, I think would allow us as gamers to have way more appreciation for like the work that goes into this stuff. And even like telling the story about how Overwatch was a product of Project Titan that got canceled years and years ago. That was an MMO that was going to be like a successor to World of Warcraft. They weren't able to make it, but then they were able to reform that into Overwatch. And I'm like, they should do more stuff like that. So it just got me thinking a lot about, one, a little bit more appreciation of Blizzard, but also just like there's so much stuff that we just don't see under the curtain.
I still think that can be like a negative effect on them. You know what I mean?
And just because
that's like a weird balance.
They've been in the news for bad reasons. So putting that stuff out, it has to go through corporate and through lawyers and.
Well, not even that. Like, let's say it wasn't Blizzard, or it was a different company that didn't have a very successful video game to come out that was being made, like Star Wars 1313. It was we saw a lot of gameplay of it and saw what was happening.
Disney, and they'd be like, nah.
Well, it was beyond Disney on what happened.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's like a prime example of like what actually happened, and they did like a BTS behind it, and people will either take it two different ways. They will either uproar and hate the company more for not doing this.
Yeah.
And try to like start a petition, hey, finish this fucking game, yada yada this, yada yada that, or they will just like, it'll be fine, be like, oh, now I understand. We're looking at it a knowledge thing, like, oh, that makes sense. I understand it now. You know what I mean? But I mean, I do agree with you. I think they should have more, like you said, the human element, the interaction stuff, so people can see this, and it might help out. It would help out a lot, but I can
more
see
in depth stuff. I mean, like the
it's like a
cancel
double-edged
thing,
sword.
probably. I mean, that's gonna be a much harder sell to be like, hey, here's a canceled project, and here's what happened in the making of that thing.
Yeah.
But even if it was just like, here's how we made the next Overwatch season, and here's
that'll be cool.
Deep dive behind the scenes look into like where the initial ideas came from, how these different characters were developed. What they didn't
in
use,
between.
what they did, all that stuff I think would be really fascinating to watch and interact with. So
back when Vice was actually good, they came out with a documentary and they'd follow this guy who was making Hyperlight Drifter at the time. And I didn't know anything about it. I'm sure you brought it up at some point in time. Yeah. So I was like, oh, let me watch this documentary. And I was like, dang, not only the game looks good and is fun to play, like the documentary just, had the human element, got me attached to what was going on, and following this guy who literally almost died making this game because he had like terminal illness. I think he's gotten over it by now.
Yeah.
But it was just super cool to like see his story behind the scenes, and like it just makes it 1,000 times better.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
NoClip does a good job with that stuff. Like doing the deep dives into different stories and whatnot. But I want to see it come from like.
Oh yeah, NoClip.
I want to see it come from the studios.
From the studios.
But because like what Last of Us did was they hired somebody to come in and do it. So it was a third party perspective telling the story of them. And then there was even one that was even more well respected, and it's like super long. But it's called Psych Odyssey, and it was inside the studios of Double Fine with Tim Schafer, and it's a 4.5, 5 hour long documentary. So it's very, very deep dive. But they hung out with them for 6 years on the development of Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
And they put everything in this, like screaming matches and, great moments and bad, like all the things.
The human element.
The human element. It was like so cool. So I'd love to see something
Where
like
can
that.
people watch the Grounded one?
YouTube.
YouTube? It's on YouTube?
It's free on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. Both Grounded 1 and 2 are on there.
Oh,
I think the first one might have been called something different, but there's a documentary on The Last of Us Part 1 and then a documentary on The Last of Us Part 2. But it's really cool. And I think it's 2 hours long. Yeah,
that's not bad.
One, so I haven't finished it
I might
yet,
have to watch it because after
God of War has one too.
Yeah, God of War has one.
God of War 1 was great too.
Yeah.
I did watch that one. So I like that they're starting to do more of this stuff, and I want more companies, like big companies, to like embrace this because I think it's just a way to literally open us up more.
Do you think like with these, if they start doing it more, right? Do you think these things should go to like a Netflix or Hulu style documentaries? No?
I mean, only they pay for it, I guess, but I think
I don't know. I think
it's great marketing.
It would reach a broader audience with it. You know,
I could. I mean, I don't have a preference either way, honestly, but it's a moneymaker for them, I guess, if they want to do it that way.
I mean, it's great marketing for, for The Last of Us, done by Sony, and God of War documentary, the same thing. So I just feel like it all it works. Like, it just helps them and expands what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool.
I can't believe we missed out on Conor McGregor and Jake Gyllenhaal. And Post Malone was there.
Post Malone.
All the things that we missed. We were on that street.
Yeah.
Dang.
Could have seen him straight up.
Told you I want to go see the Roadhouse.
Dang.
You're like, fuck that.
I also saw a talk on building billion-dollar teams, the future of an AI-powered workforce, and it's not as relevant to gaming, but I just thought it was really fascinating with some of the ideas that they put out there for how AI is going to impact the future workforce, which I think will also trickle down into we've already had conversations about how AI is impacting the video game industry. And there was recently a trailer, I believe, that came out for something that somebody did that used an actor who was not paid. It's his likeness in the trailer. So he wasn't actually brought in to act again. They just used his likeness and said it was Under Armour commercial. That got a bunch of, complaints and stuff like that. But a couple of stats that they had in here that I thought was really interesting. By 2050, 100 years of progress will be made every 5 years, which is insane.
Dang.
That's fucking nuts.
And then
flying cars here soon.
By March 2029, things will be 3,000. This is like a broad range, obviously, but 3,000 to 100,000 times better or more advanced than they are today. And then they said that, let's see, if you don't work on AI and rise to level of expectations, you fall level our systems. A lot of it was basically like he was getting this idea of, we need to change the way that our operating system works. So it's not like AI is like a tool. Instead it's going to like literally change the function of how our companies are built. So going back to that Blizzard conversation, it's like you have a team that works on that one game. Well, in the future with AI, you can have a bunch of like AI bots that can do a lot of these work elements for you. So you're not going to be compartmentalized into, I'm on the design team for this project. Instead, you're going to be more of what they call a creative generalist that can jump around into different categories. I mean, that's his term for like general idea. Oh, I got like the idea, his phrasing was like, jobs are dead, but work is not.
Yeah.
So you saying that I'm going to go to a place and be a designer is no, in the future may not be a thing anymore. Instead, you're just an employee that works, and you can work on a bunch of different things in a bunch of different areas of the company, because it's so much faster and easier to develop skills than it used to be. And you have to be malleable and flexible to jump around. But what's also nice about that is it also opens the possibility of like reducing the amount of work that you have to do in a week. Because, I mean, there is this like theory that, and companies are testing this, that a 5-day, 40-hour work week is like insane and there's a lot of wasted time in that 40-hour work week.
There's a shit ton of wasted time.
Yeah, so trying to bring it down to where there's like a 4-day work week. People have tested that and proven that yes, a 4-day work week is possible and won't reduce productivity if done correctly. And this is kind of going into that, because I mean, we have meetings all day at my job, and half the meetings are just somebody like reading off of a brief.
Could have been an email.
Yep. So what they're doing is like you can now build AI tools that'll be your AI version of yourself that attends the meetings on your behalf and then summarizes. So I tested that actually while I was there at the event, and there's an app called Otter that I recorded a talk, and it captured the entire hour-long transcript of that conversation with multiple people talking, and then it gives me a summary of a key, like it literally gives me a paragraph summary of what it was about.
Yeah.
And then it breaks out an outline of all the key points of that talk.
That's pretty cool.
Oh my
and all I had to do was press play.
When we were there, I was just thinking about the negatives of this and big corporations getting involved, and people are going to get laid off. But I guess now that I'm thinking about it, you saying the way that work can be restructured, technically, I mean, this opens the door for anybody to be like more companies, like smaller companies can now grow and expand drastically without having to increase, having to add more people. to the roster
a
of
bigger footprint.
Yeah, I mean, think of all the indie games now that could be, I'll just get AI to do all this stuff for me, and I can continue make a game and maybe hire like 2 or 3 more people, and I'm making money.
Once again, we get back to the conversation of abusing the AI. You know what I mean? Is you get these employees that come in, or like myself, and just be lazy about it and utilizing AI in an inappropriate response. You know what I mean? And then also on top of that is the training. You know, the little things that the AI might catch. Let's say that you're finally on your own. We lose AI, or like it gets regulated to a point that we're not allowed to use it. Then that person's so used to using it, now they're missing out on those small things that AI used to catch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
So we're missing the fundamentals of different
we
things.
get
It's
dull.
still like, we get dulled, and we turn into the Wall-E effect. You know, I mean, we already saw a little wheelchair going around, so I mean, it's possible, right? So, but I think it's a thing that we were talking about last South by. Like AI is great.
Yeah.
As long as it's fundamentally used correctly and appropriately, it can be an amazing thing, but the human nature is always the issue.
Yeah.
And I think
agree.
AI is going to realize that soon, and we're going to have Terminators going around. So that's my own opinion.
Well, we
on
saw
that.
a bionic arm while we were down
Yeah, I
there.
know.
So, I mean, yeah.
Well, if you think about, someone brought up a good argument, not to get too off topic, but that AI is generated. The only way AI exists is because of our input.
Yep.
So if we stop giving it stuff, like it could grow, but only to a point. Like there's only so much it can know, so it needs a human experience in order to actually thrive. So,
but it is also
kind of like
machine learning. It's learning on its own from the information. So there's going to be a point where we've inputted all the information we need to input, and it's going to start learning off the inputs that it's already received. And kind of just like a kid, you know, when a kid's first born, their experiences
It's a sponge.
help them to develop who they become as an older adult. The machine learning is going to operate the same way with the computer. You know, it's just going to get better over time on its own, without the help of human interaction at some point, which is kind of crazy. But the other thing that they mentioned too is that we are now entering the world with AI, entering into the world of a one-person $1 billion company, where one person can have $1 billion, or make a company worth $1 billion.
Yeah.
So that right there is kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
So.
Which, hey, that's good for everybody. I mean, just that someone could create a company and expand it. And they don't have to worry about I need an office space, and I need this, and I need that, and I got my office, like all the like little stuff that actually adds up to be a huge price.
Yeah.
It's like free, you know, you have more freedom and flexibility. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, more people can hopefully travel and, you know, just work whatever they want to work, you know, from wherever they are. In certain instances, for sure.
Right. It's not made for everybody, for sure.
So those are my talks, but I want to talk a little bit about the some of the brand activations. So we do have a separate conversation that we'll have for Fallout specifically, so I don't want to like talk on that one too much.
Okay.
In this part of it, but what were some? I mean, there were, like you mentioned, Jason, there wasn't a lot of as many this year as past years of the brand activation. So for those that are listening or watching, a lot of South by Southwest is talks. Like you go to talks all day, panels, workshops, etc., all throughout the day. But while you're there, there's a whole bunch of brands that come and set up either like brand activations, promoting like a movie or a TV show, or there's like full-on experiences where they are immersing you in their brand. And 9 times out of 10, they have free drinks, which is always a benefit.
That's why
there's always food there. There's all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of activities and parties and things happening that are sponsored by these different groups and people and stuff like that. So outside of the Fallout one, which we all know is like, you know, an awesome one, what were some highlights for you? And what were some things that you like wish you had seen or didn't get to see?
So the 3-body experience, is that what it was called?
3-body problem.
3-body problem experience. So it's called the 3-body problem experience. They were promoting their a new TV show for Netflix. We lined up outside, and they had this like I wouldn't call it a hologram, but it like kind of turned into a hologram experience, and it showed like a quick like immersive view of what's happening in the show. That was okay. It was super cool. They were constantly like replaying it over and over again, which is fine. You know, it was very cool to see that technology up there and how it was just holographically like to our eyeballs, very cool. I was a little upset about the Monkey Man happy hour type thing because I thought that was going to be more like a little bit immersive, but it wasn't. They just had posters up. It just felt like we were walking into a bar grabbing a drink.
Well, yeah, it was a bar and they had Monkey Man. And
yeah, they had Monkey Man stuff.
Can I have a drink?
They had posters up of the movie, and then they had pictures of the scene, and then they also had food inspired from the movie as well, which was cool. That was a nice touch.
Yep.
But a very, very small bar. I'm trying to remember another one. We didn't go to the Audible experience, which, it was like a Ferris wheel. I don't know what they were promoting. We missed out on that one. But we did go to the lodge, the Paramount Lodge, which had all their Paramount theme stuff there. And the only one that stood out to me was Halo. And they have it set up in a bar that's pretty decent size. And there's one section for Halo, which we walked down. And they had like all the the outfits and stuff of Halo, and then they were showing the teaser for season 2. That experience was actually pretty nice. It was just like a little booth,
kind of like a booth, yeah.
And they showed the full armor of Master Chief, and then another armor,
another Spartan,
and then they gave you some sunglasses that look like Halo style sunglasses. But the teaser is what got me like pumped for it. I was just like, oh, this is cool. I didn't feel immersed into it, but seeing all that stuff, I was like, okay, I think I kind of want to rewatch Halo, give it a second chance. They had the Mean Girls, which is a TV series that is coming out as well. We experienced that. Everything
that was like a small room. Nobody was in there.
All pink. You go upstairs and it's just chaos. They
had that middle floor.
They had the middle floor for the
tattoo. Yeah, get a tattoo or
they had it for Ink Masters, and then they once again Star Trek, because they always have Star Trek there. It's just a little spaceship that you go in, you hit buttons and stuff like that. We didn't get to experience that because that middle floor is terrible. But upstairs they had a Western themed side, which I thought was Yellowstone, but you told me it was something else.
Lawman, Bass Reeves Lawman.
Yeah, which we didn't really get to experience that. We did get some photos. If you check out
our filmed here in Fort Worth, by the way.
Oh wow, yeah, we did get some photos. I think we posted up on our Instagram and Facebook. pretty badass photo, if I must say.
We're outlaws.
Outlaws. I look like the fucking wild card. Brett looks like the fucking gunslinger, and this looks like the gambler, dude.
I'm just an evil Mexican man.
Yeah, dude, we look fucking badass. So we took pictures up there, and like each unique experience had a different like cocktail to go with it, which was cool and fun. And that's really like about the immersive stuff that I dealt. We didn't get to go to the Dale House, which is it's not really immersive.
It's just talks and sessions.
Talks and sessions, but like. For the immersive portion of it, I didn't really feel it as much as last year, because we went into some crazy stuff last year, and like I can feel myself slowly getting immersed. Here, I didn't feel it at all except for the Fallout experience. Yeah. So that's my own opinion on that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was like the best thing was the Paramount House.
Yeah.
And then we had the Creative Expo. Can we dive into that?
Yeah. Let's yeah.
So the Creative Expo was.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't. I mean, it was basically you just walked around a lot. And it's very corporate
par
too.
for the course of like what it's been in years past.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes some really cool technology
years.
and stuff like that. But it's just like creative. They call it the Creative Industries Expo, but it's a weird mix of like businesses that are kind of creative. Some are not really that creative. There's countries that represent themselves and like. Here's the capabilities of what our country can do, kind of thing. And the CIA's there, like all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah, we'll get into that subject here soon.
Yeah. But what I thought was really cool, well, one, we walked in, there was this robot that was on a ball, and he looked like a fox with these long legs.
Yeah,
I should post a video.
He looked like Ratchet.
Yeah, he looked like Ratchet.
Yeah.
Well, he has a camera above, where his eyebrows would be, and that's how he watches you, right? So you're walking around, it like will look at you if you get close. And it's like mouth is a LED screen, so it like blinks, and I guess he could talk and
Well, his whole face was a LED screen, so he had emotions.
Yes. Yeah. So I went up to him and I was like, "Well, I bet this thing responds to you." So I waved, and it took him about 5 seconds, but then he slowly raised his hand and waved, and then I was like, "How are you?" And he's like, "I'm good."
Beep boop, beep boop.
Yeah. I was like, this is actually kind of cool because like he'll act like his face turns. So as you turn, like walk around him, like he follows you. Thought that was cool. And then the other thing I didn't expect was they have this what was it? Like an ultrasonic, like you could feel 3D objects. And it was like this booth, almost like a sound booth, like just like if you put it on a table, and it had a 3D screen, so everything looked like it was in front of you, and then they had all these like little ultrasonic nodes lined up all over the box.
Over this like box, yeah.
And so there's a camera there that kind of looks up because that's where you put your hands above, and then as you touch, because first it was like jellyfish, every time you touched it, the ultrasonic stuff would come up and you could feel it, like it would create touch. So I was like touching these jellyfish. Then we switched to like a little blob anime thing, and I would touch it, and I could put I put it in my palm of my hand. He was like, "Oh, we got one more. It's rain." So we started raining. So put my hand out there, and I could feel all the drops. I was like, "This is crazy." So what I did was I put my hand on top of the little blob thing, and I could feel it in my palm, and then I could feel all of the dots hitting my top of my hand.
With the dots, because you know how rain is. Can you feel it like rubbing down on you?
No, it's just like
it's just like boop, 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 boop,
boop,
boop, boop, boop.
just like that first contact.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no cold feeling or anything.
Yeah. Super impressive.
Yeah. I was like, this is
From
cool.
the University of Tokyo, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly, now that I think, because they make you fill a survey, I was like, oh yeah, it feels really real. But like the more I think about it, I'm like, okay, it's definitely a lot closer, and it's a great experience, but it doesn't feel real.
Foundation work, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I was like, what does it take to like scale this? And they're like, well, this is all we got. It takes a lot of power.
I'm curious what would happen is if, let's say you were in VR.
Yes.
And then you were seeing all the things
just that
happening,
little
and you
bit.
felt those things. Do you? I bet you it would
that'd be great.
more
It'd be great.
immersive. You know.
Yes,
that sense.
definitely. Like getting shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt, but you just feel that impact.
Right.
Impact.
But I don't think it's powerful enough to go through clothes. That's why they have your skin out.
Right. Yeah. That was really cool. I don't know. What about you, Jason? What was your favorite thing in the Industries Expo? Was there anything that stood out to you, or you're kind of like, that's fine?
Oh, the game?
No.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. They had some little indie games from Game Jam.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm not gonna talk.
Nothing exciting there.
I'm not gonna talk ill.
I beat it.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. No, I'm nothing except for the thing that Austin did. I didn't get a chance to play around with it. I thought this year the expo hall wasn't as crazy as it was last year for us.
Yeah. Last year they had like a whole setup for D&D, and you can paint minis.
There was some like great things last year, but this year it was just I don't know. But nothing too crazy.
The only thing that I thought that was cool, that was impressive. I mean, the little robot thing was kind of cool.
Oh shit, the wheelchair thing. That was impressive.
Oh
thing.
yeah, that's right.
I just don't get the wheelchair thing.
I don't get it either. So the wheelchair thing is made by Honda, and this is just this white chair, and you sit in it, and it's basically like a hoverboard. I don't know if a lot of you guys use a hoverboard where you use a little bit of force, you can go forward, you can go back, and stuff like that. And with this, they were trying to promote it for like
it's hands free. That's what
hands free. Yeah, it's a hands free like wheelchair, and mostly what they were trying to promote it for was for VR simulation. Which I'm like, well, that's cool and all, but what about just handicapped people in general? And it's very unique. It's very like it moves on a dime, and you just use the front portion of your body to move it, which is like
a Segway.
Like a Segway, yeah, it is basically like a Segway. But they were mostly promoted for a VR experience, which I don't see this being a VR experience because I don't think you'll have enough room for this. But once again, VR in general, you kind of don't have enough room depending on what you're using.
Well, see, now I wonder too, it's like, because this thing's talking about being a hands-free wheelchair. So I wonder if they were like, just that one video was like, hey, you can use this with VR.
Maybe.
But it actually is maybe, because it makes sense to be like a wheelchair you don't have to roll.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of cool to think about. But
I don't
so
know.
close to Wally.
Yeah, we didn't have an opportunity to like sign up for anything because they were full on slots like nonstop. But I think maybe just to get a broader audience for it, they were just promoting it with the VR. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just have people try it out and stuff because you're not going to have a bunch of because I'm assuming the handicap population is a lot smaller compared to a non-handicapped person. So just getting it out there and showing people, it was very impressive, very smooth, and I actually enjoyed just sitting there watching and experiencing that portion of it. I think that's about it on the expo hall.
I guess they are talking about like merging the joy of mobility with virtual reality adventures. It's such a weird thing. It's like basically a wheelchair, but I don't know why I want to put VR on my head while I'm like moving around. It's
Man, you get the Apple Vision Pro and you ride
do
around
all your racing games
I
on
know.
it, man.
Let's go.
That's down the road.
yeah, can I go 120 miles an hour on this thing? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do that. You would die.
There was a piece of technology in there that I thought was really interesting. I don't really know what the use case of it is for, but it's cool. And that was the projected hologram thing where like you can be standing. They have a set that you can stand in front of and talk and communicate. And there's a big, huge box that's got a screen on it that basically puts a 3D version of you on there in real time. So as you're talking, you get to show up on this screen, and it is incredibly good-looking technology. Like it does.
What was it called?
I don't remember the name of it. Let's look up like I don't know, video hologram or something like that. I don't know.
Are you talking about the hologram thing that's always there every year?
No. This wasn't there last year, but it was similar. This was the one where there was that lady that was standing there that was wearing red.
There it is.
That stood up. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's there every year.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Not with somebody like in real time, like
Yeah, it was
talking
real
that.
time. Last year it was there in real time.
No, it wasn't.
How much you want to bet?
I'll bet you right now.
Okay.
$5.
$5.
Okay.
Man, y'all racking up
Check.
this betting thing.
I know, right?
How do you
Not
see?
this quality though. Like this brand.
Oh,
wasn't
now
there.
you're quality now. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that it was there last year.
Well, yeah, but not one where you could like walk into and like see
Yeah,
yourself
you can
like
walk
one-to-one
into
and
it. They
that.
had it set up
Yeah.
that you can
I don't
walk
remember.
into it.
I don't remember.
Not to this level.
Oh, what level?
No,
are we
this
talking
one-
about?
this
I'm
one's
confused.
there, like this
they
one right
had
there.
the exact same thing last
I
year.
think
All right, y'all figure it out later.
I thought it was really cool.
It is
okay?
cool. No, it is cool.
But whatever I saw last year wasn't cool. This was cool. And it
You're
looked
cool,
really good.
Brett.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. So I thought this was very impressive, but I just don't understand what the use case of this would be necessarily. With the exception of I saw in the Kardashian show, I saw a preview of this, and there was a lady, the mom, and the daughter was mad that the mom didn't spend enough time with her.
Yeah.
So she paid one of these companies to put this hologram thing inside of the daughter's house so that she could always be around the mom. And I was like, yeah, you just spent $10,000, put this thing in here for this stupid gimmick. You know, it was very silly.
Bro, you just need to go to your mom's house.
Yeah. But one thing I did want to talk about, though, is not in this room, but it was in the XR experience that we went to. And that was me trying the Apple Vision Pro for the first time. And
And
I was pleasantly disappointed.
you're pleasantly disappointed.
I
Okay.
was pleasantly disappointed. I was so surprised. Now, I want to go try it at the Apple Store because I wonder if because they wanted to maximize, like, you know, modify or whatever the frame rate for their experience, like maybe they shot it 60 frames per second, so they wanted like the Vision Pro to stay 60, so therefore they like toned it down. It felt laggy and disjointed. And like I would move my head in the real world with the pass-through technology, and as I'm looking around, it felt slow. It was like ghosting, and it wasn't moving. And I've heard so many people get in there and they're like, "This thing looks amazing and it's so real and clear." This was not at all, and I was really surprised. I mean, it felt just like my Oculus Quest 2, and it wasn't that crystal clear like I expected it to be. And then when you're inside of this like 3D experience, I mean, it looked cool. It was kind of a neat experience to like see people walk around. I just like turned my head in all different directions, but it wasn't. It was just awkward. It was awkward to use. It was heavy. I was a little sweaty, and for a $3,500 device, I was
You weren't
very
expecting
disappointed.
that. No.
So that's my review of the Apple Vision Pro. Everybody,
He's not getting it.
not getting it. No.
Thank God.
Yeah. So yeah, anything else that y'all want to just cover from the South by
do.
Southwest experience? Okay, what?
Big thing that we missed out on. 60 bands. 60 bands decided not to go to South by Southwest.
Oh, okay. I think
you hear about
thought
that?
That was a brand.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah, you heard about that, right?
U.S. Army sponsorship. Yeah.
U.S. Army CIA sponsorship due to the war going on in
It's
Palestinians.
yeah, Palestine. Yeah.
Yeah, 60 bands decided not to go.
Israel, Palestine.
Yeah, and then Greg Abbott came out and basically said, "Don't let the door hit you on the way out."
Yep.
And then South by came out and was just like, "We do not support Greg Abbott on this."
but we will take the money.
We will take the money. Yeah.
No, actually, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, dude, that's what the other side says all the time. Like, can we not be like that? Like, why do you got to be so abrasive?
What's so weird? Because we were there, but we missed out on the music experience because it just happened the next day we were leaving. They were just getting started. I didn't see much protest for that.
I didn't either
until the music stuff started happening.
Yeah.
And then I saw it all over the news because my work called me and was just like, "Hey, be safe out there," because they knew I was going and stuff, and they knew there was going to be a bunch of protests for military people. I'm like, "The fuck are you talking about?" And then I saw the news and was like, "Oh shit."
I had no idea.
That's crazy.
My fiance saw some of it, but I don't think it wasn't
like.
I don't think she saw anything that big.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of things that big. But.
No, I don't think it. I think it hit like once the music stuff started coming in because the news broke. Because I was talking to somebody about it, and they told me they were like, "Oh, did you hear about the South by Southwest stuff?" I was like, "No."
Yeah,
and I saw the news broke about it like 18 hours prior. So the day we left on Wednesday, the news started coming out on that Tuesday.
Coming out.
So it just started happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we've seen like defense contractors and stuff
every year
in the past and stuff like that. But it's weird,
and it's not like it's a big change. It's not like this is their first year coming either. I mean, they're showing off their technology too, and what's happening. It's not more about a recruiting thing, but showing people our defenses.
Well, for them, it was more that they're sponsoring it, so they're funding South by Southwest a little bit, and that's what people were pissed at. It's like why are you letting a
military
company that commits genocide fund South by Southwest? Like, you should be saying no. That's why a lot of the bands were from other countries too. So it wasn't just like American-based bands.
Well, what about Ukraine? I thought they cared about Ukraine. They fund that too.
Yeah. Like all that. Okay, I'm not going to get into my protest.
Yeah, let's not get on the protest.
I'm fucking like I have a sore subject with that, but we'll continue.
We'll hear about it later.
So yeah, anything else y'all want to talk about with South by Southwest? Yeah. Okay, cool.
That was South by.
So South by Southwest 2024. It is concluded. It is over. We've been there. We conquered. We learned a lot. We met some great people. We had some good networking experiences. It's a good time.
Great time.
Yeah, it's definitely something that for anybody that's curious about how to get in there or anything like that, it's an industry focused event. So it's like definitely for people that are in film, TV, gaming, etc.
Music.
It's not cheap to attend. It starts out at I think around $1,200 or $1,400. Well, actually, the music one starts a little under that. It's around $800, $900.
$900.
Well, that was for the day of walking.
Oh, the day of walking in.
The rates go up towards the end of it and stuff like that. But like when the tickets go on sale, they're like starting around like $700 or $800, and then it goes up from there. It can be as much as like $2,000 by the time you go to the door.
Pretty sure next year tickets are on sale right now. So like
they should be,
get in if you want. If you feel like this will help you.
Oh, fuck my ass.
Well, yeah, so those are the walk-up rates here. So walk-up rate for a platinum badge is $20.95, but I think it starts around $1,400 for a platinum badge.
Yeah. I agree with that.
There we go. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Platinum badge is $13.65. The music badge is $630. Interactive is $10.50, and then it goes up every couple months. They raise the rates.
Gotcha. All the way to $2,000. Wow, that's a huge increase. Don't walk up, y'all.
Yes.
Do not walk up.
That's how they do it,
That's right.
Get you good.
Yeah, South by Southwest. There's tons of countries that have come up. I mean, there's people from all over the world that show up to this event, which is wild.
Yeah.
Takes over the whole entire city. So pretty cool. That's South by Southwest, everybody.